Yes. hmm I wanted to look at a law that was passed in 1980 that has to do with child support and adoption. Yes. Now, I did read some of this article, and I find it interesting that you can use all this fraud to issue dissolutions of marriage. Yes. And protection orders. Yeah. But it says here the Adoption Assistance and Child Welfare Act of 1980. Yeah. Significantly changed child welfare law in the United States. Well, of particular importance, the act created responsibilities for juvenile court judges, making them an integral part of the operation of the law. Yes. Now, it looks like judges are actually personally liable for any knowledge of the fraud of kidnapping or child abduction. Now, it focuses upon the judicial oversight of abused and neglected children when they are removed from parental custody. Now, for every judge in the United States of America, I will sue every one of you in every county of the United States, yes, that has any knowledge of your obligation to judicial oversight, when you have knowledge of the fraud of issuing dissolutions of marriage, when you have knowledge of the fraud of issuing protection orders, because my abused and neglected sons, yes, were removed from my parental custody without any due processes or protections of the law. Now, I'm going to want to know specifically what this law says, and if necessary, I'll research it myself because the juvenile court oversights of social service delivery ineffective or non-existent. That many juvenile courts do ensure that the children out of home care obtain a permanent home in a timely fashion. Now, I noticed that there's been a lot of adoptions, poo, and it seemed like everybody just wants to take the kids. Now, my wife abducted my sons. She was not a resident of Washington State. She had me arrested on Guam. I gave you a copy of the probation conditions that allowed me to leave Guam, and you decided to arrest me multiple times. Now, I want to know all the children that have been taken from every house of the United States for the last 20 years. Yeah. Or you, Brent Baston, decided to adopt out. Well, listen, good judge running for Superior Court. Yes. It's obvious that you have not done anything according to the law. You are personally liable for all this fraud and child abduction. Judges are periodically called upon to engage in substantial oversight of agency decision making. Why don't we look at all the agencies that have filed any court orders right now? CPS, Child Support Services, yes. And any of those in welfare that have utilized the courts as some sort of personal domain to be able to do whatever they want to parents of the United States. Now, this idea that a woman's just going to run into court and say he's crazy. He called me a bad name. Poop. After being married for 10 years right now. After having a stepdaughter. Yes. And 5 biological sons. Yes. After being a host father. Yes. Right now. It seems to me that I had a really good track record right now. Now, I want to know why these courts are allowing these agencies and departments of the United States to circumvent the requirements of the law to prove that you can't just take kids whenever you want to. Now, a large number of dogs, get me,